Regal Apple. Drink responsibly.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon, starting the new year on assignment in Arizona.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. What time does this assignment tee off exactly?
Well, you know, if I could get you in and out of the attic on time, I might have a little daylight left, you know, for maybe 12 to 14 holes. That's pretty good.
What do you got? You got 65 and clear there in Arizona today for the next week or so?
For the record, 66 and clear, just so you don't dock us a degree.
Oh, great. 66 and clear. It's wonderful. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Bills and Packers roll into the playoffs while the Bears crab walk in backwards. But we begin today with the Washington football team making the playoffs, in part because the Philadelphia Eagles put a third-string quarterback out there in crunch time for no apparent reason. Nate Sudfeld, who hadn't played a down all year, turned the ball over twice in the first two series he played. Later, Eagles coach Doug Peterson said, quote, "I was coaching to win. I felt Nate deserved an opportunity to get some snaps," unquote. Wilbon, was Peterson coaching to win?
No, he lied. No, he wasn't coaching to win, and maybe that was ordered from on high. I mean, you don't know how organizations work and what they value at a certain time. But no, and when I watched Peterson's post-game live, because I wanted to see what he was going to say, how he was going to handle that. Because I don't care about the Giants. They don't owe the Giants anything. But he owes his own team something, the guys in his locker room in that huddle. And when he started ticking off the starters who were on the field, and then he gets to the quarterback, it's like, wait a minute. If you're going to sit here and use as evidence all the starters who are out there, what about the quarterback, including a guy you need to see in these situations going forward to find out if he's the franchise quarterback? No, it was just a big fat lie. He wasn't coaching to win. There was another agenda. He clearly isn't going to be honest about it, but there was something else.
Yeah, so I think this is an integrity issue. I would like to see the NFL say he wasn't coaching to win. We're going to fine him $1 million. I think it's also an arrogance issue. I think Doug Peterson was very, very arrogant about this. You take out Jalen Hurts. He's a guy who has run for 2 touchdowns in that game. He's given you your points, and you say, I want to see Nate Sudfeld have some snaps. You ought to want to see what Jalen Hurts can do in a crunch time situation with some snaps, because he's only played 3 games for you, and you got to make a decision on him. You've already made a decision on Nate Sudfeld. He can't play. You don't know if Jalen Hurts has a major league arm yet. You're not exactly sure. So you don't take him out. And, I mean, people will say, I made a list of this. People will say, well, they had nothing to play for. A lot of teams had nothing to play for yesterday, right? The Falcons were trying, the Texans were trying, the 49ers were trying, the Chargers were trying. And to your point, Mike, if you watch the Jets when they won a game a couple of weeks ago, that meant a lot to players. If I'm a Philadelphia Eagles player, I feel my coach has undercut me. I feel he's let me down. Yes.
Tony, if I'm a starter, all right, and I could be injured and break a leg, and it could be my last play anytime. I'm out there trying at the end of that game, and he puts Sudfeld out there. At least just have the conviction when you walk to the lectern and the microphone after the game to say, I wanted to see this guy have some snaps. This is like senior night. I wanted him to have a chance. Just say that and live with it. Don't lie and say, I was trying to win, because your actions undercut your words. They really did.
See, they could have won. Washington can't score.
They could have won.
Washington doesn't have any offense.
They could have won the game. That's right.
If you leave Hurts in there, you're 1 touchdown away from winning. I mean, look, am I happy for Washington? I live in Washington. I'm happy for Washington. This is a bogus thing that happened.
I'm sort of happy that it involves the Eagles, who, as you know, I'm sick of all of them. All of them, starting with Pennsylvania. What state is he going to tack on to his name next? Because he ain't going to be in Pennsylvania if they have a brain, and I'm not sure they do. The AFC featured several games of consequence yesterday. The Browns made the playoffs for the first time in 18 years by just sort of sliding past the Steelers. The Bills blasted the Dolphins, killed them by 30, eliminating Miami from postseason contention. The Bills will now face the Colts, who earned a wild card spot with a win over the Jaguars. And the Titans won the AFC South when Sam Sloman's field goal attempt doinked, not double doinked, doinked through the uprights. Tony, which of these teams had the biggest win?
Well, I mean, the Buffalo win was the biggest win in terms of being impressive. They dismantled Miami. They put 1,000 points on them. And by the way, if I'm running Miami now, after what I've seen the last 2 to 3 weeks, I'm not sure Tua is my franchise quarterback.
Not certain.
I really wish I could have
That's
gone
right.
back and gotten Justin Herbert, and because he might be my franchise quarterback had I drafted him. But the biggest win was Cleveland, because Cleveland hasn't been in the playoffs in 18 years, and Cleveland for the last 8 to 10 years has been a running joke. They fire coaches all the time. They get nothing right. I really, you can say that Pittsburgh didn't play everybody, but they announced before the game that they weren't going to play a lot of people. But Cleveland still had to win that game. And Cleveland had all these coronavirus issues. Mike, I know you've been hard on Baker Mayfield for quite some time, but at the end of that game, he ran for a bunch of first downs. He held on to the ball. He kept the sticks moving. That felt like a big game for him.
Tony, I have been rough on Baker Mayfield, justifiably so, because Baker Mayfield for a long time behaved like a fool. And I know he's young and immature and you get a chance to grow up, and it seems Baker Mayfield has done that. The narrative hasn't changed. He changed it by the way he's played and also, as far as I'm concerned, by the way he's conducted himself. And so, look, Tony, I spent a lot of time in Cleveland covering sports over the last few decades, and I know what that city's like when their teams are good. It pulsates in a way that a lot of other more overrated, larger cities get credit for how great their fan bases are. And it's Cleveland that's a great fan base in everything. I've been there when the Indians have won, or close. I've been there, obviously when LeBron has won. And now for the Cleveland Browns, great win. But Tony, the most impressive win came from the Buffalo Bills, who looked like I would walk down the dark alley with them to play Kansas City any day. And I think the Bills can and very well may beat the Chiefs if they play them in the playoffs. And I tell you what else, the Ravens. I'll walk with either one of those teams in the dark of night to play the Chiefs. I understand the Chiefs are the favorite at 14-2. They've earned it. But the Buffalo Bills look like a team that'll walk out, take their jacket off, and fight you to the death.
Let me just mention the other two things. Tennessee, that was a really great game to watch. They got a Hail Mary when it wasn't called a Hail Mary by Tannehill. And then they got, as you say, the substitute kicker doinks it off the side and it goes in. But I can't figure, Indianapolis is the least flashy, least scary 11-5 team I have ever seen. I have no read whatsoever on the Indianapolis Colts. Absolutely none. Wilbon, congratulations. Your Bears are in the playoffs, but not because of anything they did yesterday. They were soundly beaten by Green Bay, 35-16. Aaron Rodgers, who has to be the MVP, threw 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers, had a passer rating of 147.9. I'm not a math major, but that sounds like a lot. Do the Packers look like the Super Bowl favorite to you?
In the NFC, sure. I mean, I think they look better than New Orleans, and I'm not sure about New Orleans and its situation in terms of health coming out of this past weekend, even though they're going to get a couple of big studs back for Sunday's wild card game, playoff game with the Bears. I'm going with the Packers, Tony. You have to. You mentioned that Aaron Rodgers has to be the MVP. Well, if you're the MVP in professional sports, usually, and you're the quarterback of a team, your team ought to be the team to beat. And so I don't know how you look at, and also that defense has gotten better. I know there were questions about the Packers defense earlier in the season. There shouldn't be any more. They gave up 1 touchdown on the road. Granted, the Bears are so offensively challenged, but they gave up 1 offensive touchdown yesterday. Yeah, I think that the Green Bay Packers look like the clear number 1 seed. Could they be upset by Seattle in Green Bay? Yes, they could, but I'm going with the Packers, and I'm willing to bet everything that you are too.
This is interesting because the question was, do they look like the Super Bowl favorites? And then you isolated it to the NFC. If I am looking big picture, if I am looking big picture, I am looking at Kansas City. I understand they haven't pounded people like maybe they could, but I think they have fewer flaws than any other team, and I think they have better players. I heard what you said about Baltimore, heard what you said about Buffalo. I agree with that. Buffalo looks great, and Baltimore, if they get any kind of a playoff run from Lamar Jackson, who's been terrible in playoffs so far, they could run everybody out of the gym. But I'll go to the NFC, and I'll agree with you about Green Bay for this reason. Home field, but not because of fans. Home field because of weather. January in Green Bay is brutal for other teams. New Orleans is a dome team. I know they get Kamara back. I know they get Michael Thomas back. I don't know how they'll do outdoors. Tampa Bay is a Florida team. I know that Brady and Gronkowski have won in cold weather, obviously. I don't know about everybody else. And you mentioned Seattle. Seattle, to me, honestly, Mike, lately is underwhelming. I know they win games, but they're underwhelming to me. They are.
They only got to be whelming for one day. They got to be whelming for 60 minutes, and they can do that because they got their own weather and not scared to go up to Green Bay and play in that weather. So
no, but you know, Aaron
Tony,
Rodgers
here's the other thing: Kansas City's got a tougher road. KC's got a tougher road to go.
Yeah, because the AFC is better. They're better at this point. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, this is going to be his 5th NFC Championship game and the first one in Green Bay. Let's take a break. Coming up, several NFL coaches are shown the door. Which open job is the best one?
And Allah.